Welcome back, everybody, to the Real Talk Podcast, Final Fantasy XIV Beta Quickie Part 2. With me again, I have Al and Justin. What is going on, guys?
Not much.
It was a Flyers game, old man. Just watching.
Pay attention, damn it.
Paying attention. It's on commercial. Let's go.
All right. Al, you were reading something you wanted to bring up earlier? About,
I was reading on the forums today. There was a discussion about leveling and how quick or how slow it should be or shouldn't be, and there were some points made, on both sides of the argument, and I have to say that I agree with both sides of the argument, so it's kind of hard. People, they're complaining that, it's too easy to level now. You're going through the content way too fast, and that it's the journey there, not the ending, that are focusing on it. That time spent leveling isn't necessarily the chore that we all make it out to be, but there's a possibility of, garnering friendships from the experience while leveling outside of just the chore of leveling.
I can agree with that. Sure.
So, people were saying, I hope they get rid of the power leveling that there was in 14, with, everybody knows the wolf pit, right? If anybody, it was just a mass area where you just killed a bunch of mobs, right? And you got an insane amount of experience, and you leveled from, what was it?
40
to 50
41
in
or
a couple
so.
hours. Yeah. Well, so I posted and I said PL is still existent in the game, and the dev staff has made mention of not fixing it. And I was like, they said that they don't mind it either. My own 2 cents. People suggested that it should take 1 month to level from 1 to 50.
Oh God, no.
So I said 1 month per job, 16 jobs, not including the discipline of hand and land.
Mm-hmm.
So those 16 jobs and classes total, right? And I said, no thanks. I will happily take a faster leveling process. Faster leveling does not necessarily equate to an easier game. Think of it this way. If you have to level each class job to 50, the amount of time you were going through the same content, regardless of how grand it is, will eventually become dull and boring. A chore.
Yep. I mean, you can only kill crabs for so many times before you go crazy.
Also, not to mention having to gear each job effectively and adequately to use each one. Just leveling to 50 is never enough.
Nope.
And somebody says, well, that goes back to that mentality. That goes back to that mentality that one has to and deserve to get everything maxed out quickly. Why would that be so? Having 2 to 3 classic caps should be a feat in and of itself. And maxing out everything has to be a very long-term goal. That mentality is a game killer. People max out everything in 6 months. What happens then? They stop playing. And I was like, see, there's a balancing act that a developer needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
The leveling process can't be too fast, or they risk the player not knowing how to accurately and adequately employ that job or class. However, if it's too long and there's not enough variety in the content to warrant leveling each job or class, people will still get bored and leave.
Yep.
And I said, if, quote-unquote, that mentality was a game killer, then games like World of Warcraft would have died years ago.
True that.
It's never about how quickly you level or don't level. It's about the content therein. Increasing the time it takes to level is a false sense of difficulty and is only there to guarantee your time in-game so they can take your money.
That's pretty spot on, bro. I agree with you. A lot of people consider leveling content, which quite honestly I don't. Listen, I don't mind hanging out with friends and we're leveling for a few hours and stuff like that and just chilling. But at the end of the day, whether people want to admit it or not, why do I play MMOs? I'm not going to lie to you, for the end game content, which to me is where the meat of the experience really is. That to me was where I garnered some of my best friendships in any MMO, because you're there, you're working together for one goal. I mean, that's it right there. Leveling is cool. You meet different people, blah blah blah. But it's a couple hours and that's it. When you're doing the end game content, you're with your guild members, you're with these people always. You're always, working together to get that goal. Like I remember I feel like honestly, personally, when we finally beat Garuda, like that was like kind of like a bonding thing in a way. I don't know, like.
We all have fucking
Absolutely.
pictures. That's so funny.
Yeah, like I mean, that was such an accomplishment because here we were trying for so fucking long and we finally fucking did it. Like I feel like that is worth more than just spending a few hours killing crabs and crabs and crabs and crabs and crabs or mandragora, mandragora, mandragora. Yeah, it's cool, but ultimately the ultimate goal. Even okay, why people say, oh well, I'm not, I don't play end game. I'm just playing to have friends. Why are you when you're leveling? When you hit cap, what exactly are you gonna do? You're just gonna sit in your old all day and
Hey,
talk?
I don't get that at all. If you
I don't
wanna,
get that. I mean, like, yeah,
if you just
there's a
wanna level, go
social
play Star
aspect to it,
Wars.
but social aspect to it, sure. But at the end of the day, once you hit cap, you're gonna want to start doing stuff at the cap, which is end game, and that's really for me why I play MMOs is for the experience, for the fun, thing that end game can be, and the bonds you form while doing that stuff.
Absolutely. Now, as much as I agree, I'll play devil's advocate and I'll flip the script here.
Sure.
Now, there was a person here who just that posted response to what I said and said people who are always rushing to max level and get into endgame to clear it for all the gear seem to, in my opinion, be missing the point. It isn't about the end result, but the journey there. Meeting people and exploring, experiencing everything you can on the way up to level cap is a very enriching experience. It's this way in real life too. I took a 23-hour bus ride over a 5-hour plane flight, and the bus ride was by far a better life experience. Granted, I've taken many, many plane flights from a young age.
That's such a shitty fucking
I know,
analogy.
but then he ended up posting that video that I had never seen, that video of the little Final Fantasy XI story. And I watched that video for the first time, and I had to say that I agree. That at that point when I played 11, you gained those bonds with the people around you because of the hardship that
Sure,
you
did,
that you
but it
went
only
through.
lasts for so long though too. That I don't know. It's only
Absolutely, but my point is, people see that and they're very nostalgic about that, and they say, it was great, that experience, but that experience has shifted from that point of time to the end of the game.
Yeah.
They take that team building exercises and they put them in the end game. And the biggest problem that and I can see, the biggest problem that I can see is that developers are having trouble balancing efficiency. People are complaining that, and this was also part of the topic in this forum, was that it's the reason that it might not necessarily be easier, but the fact that you can do everything solo to cap is a problem. And it's not that you can't do it, that it's all about efficiency. It's all about, I can play on my own terms. I don't have to tolerate anyone else's bullshit or inability to play the game. I can just go from point A to point B. And that is the most efficient way to get from point A to point B, is by myself. Now, until there becomes a point in time where developers figure out to balance, a party of 8 people being able to do the same, if not more, than somebody on their own, then partying experience outside of dungeons is going to be non-existent.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how it is in WoW, though. Too. I mean, WoW, you pretty much go through your quests pretty much by yourself, unless you
and
you
that's
got a
why
couple
people
friends.
are complaining, because it's a lot like
Listen,
World of Warcraft.
I think-
If they wanted to play that game, they'd go play World of Warcraft.
Sure, but listen, I use World of Warcraft as an example. The Old Republic's like that. You level on your own, aside from doing dungeons. I think I'm not opposed to parties and leveling and stuff. I just don't want to take a month to get to cap. I'm also not one of these guys to rush to cap either. You know what I'm trying to say? But I do
We
want
did
to
on
do.
Star Wars.
I do want to get to the meat of the game, the end game content, which is fun. I don't know. I can't. Like I get it. I get that. The journey. Yeah, it's cool. But after how many jobs is the journey really going to be the same journey?
Yeah, I
of
care
hours
about
of
that.
killing. Yeah, no. Like I
Like
mean,
the
Final
first
Fantasy.
time around.
Yeah, I mean, I had Thief at 75. I loved it, and that leveling that job took me 2 years to get to fucking cap because I was doing that whole thing, getting to know people, helping people out. But it came to a point like my friends are doing other stuff. Like, hey, I want to do that too. So I got to cap, and then I had to level other jobs as well, like Ranger, Dragoon, whatever. And
Yeah, I think all of our
you
first
can only
jobs
kill.
took
Yeah, like
took forever.
You can only kill crabs for so long before it drives you nuts. Like I mean, you're eventually it's always going to be meeting the same people, the same flakes or this or that. yeah, maybe for like your first job, it'll be this magical experience and the journey and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, though, when you're doing it for your third or fourth or fifth job, whatever, because let's be honest here, like I like
Yeah.
having
Absolutely.
options when I'm playing endgame, even though I mostly play healer or buffing classes and stuff. I still want to have the option that if my team needs me to be a warrior or whatever, I can do that. So
Right, and that's just it. Like going into that, like I'm super excited for not even just beta, but going into beta and all that. But upon open beta, when they finally take the curtain off of everything, right, and we're able to, start doing stuff, and then release comes, and the legacy members get their own beginning of the story, which I think is really cool. Like you survived the meteor strike and all this stuff, and they finally build upon that. And to experience that part of my adventure. However, I also I've also thought of creating another character solely to level Arcanist/Summoner, so I can experience what it's like with a new character, and experience all of the other content that I would otherwise miss if I didn't create a new character.
What are you really gonna? I mean, we all have everything at Cat.
I don't.
Because we're all fucking bosses. You have your crown, don't you?
You didn't have your Paragon's crown, bro?
Nope, and I didn't want it. I didn't care. I don't want to play Archer. I don't want to play Pugilist.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
I don't blame you. But I mean, just touching on what you said there. I mean, is there really going to be a difference between say Sin and I starting Arcanist and a brand new character starting an Arcanist?
Absolutely.
What is that?
Because
what content is going to be different?
Because the legacy members get a completely separate storyline. Their storyline, their story arcs are completely different from somebody who's just starting out.
I understand that, but
so then what don't you? I want to experience what I won't be able to experience as a legacy member.
I get that.
You're going back to level 1. Why aren't you going to have that same Arcanist content?
It's because I think it's a new adventurer, finally deciding to pick up a sword and go out into the world, whatever, as opposed to the battered veterans who have been there before and are continuing their journey. I get that, and I think I might do that just to experience maybe the beginning as well. I'm sorry, what was that?
Your initial story quests for starting a new character are going to be different than that of a person who's returning from 1.0. And I want to experience both sides of the story. So instead of leveling Arcanist on Alvarian, where I already have it, why not start it with a fresh character where I can be, the male Makote that I want to be, and I can still have my Taru, you know what I mean? So I can have both sides of the world where I have my legacy account and character, and I can continue that storyline, and I can also experience leveling at my own pace the Arcanist.
Just for my own purposes as well, I think I might do that. Just to experience it a little bit, because I have a friend who's coming back to play, and I might, help level with him to help make his experience easier until he's finally up and ready to, come and play with us. Because let's be honest, I don't know how much. Yeah, I'm talking about dude. I don't know how much content there's going to be for us to be doing in the beginning. I don't know. I mean, I'm just guessing here. I'm sure there'll be content for us to do and everything, but
like I said,
I definitely want to make sure that my friend gets there as well. Yeah, same here, bro.
As soon as
I want that
beta
relic.
phase 4 starts, I'm working on my relic. I'm going to start doing the Hamlets. I'm going to start, getting all my fucking tokens and stuff. I am by the first major patch, I want to have my relic, and that's 2.5 to 3 months outside of after release.
Excellent, bro, because I'm not going to be on Hawaii time anymore. We're going to get that shit done. I want that fucking Thyrus.
Like, I'm getting my Holy Shield.
That's the White Mage one, dude. Yeah.
Durg. I want Durg.
Right. So if we can get 8 people that are on that fucking strive to get that.
Yeah, if we get 8 of us, we'll get it. We'll each get one
no problem,
by patch.
Bro. All right. So, anyways, this has been the second quickie for the Final Fantasy XIV beta. Thank you for listening. Don't forget, if you like what you hear, you want to hear some more, be sure to check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/realtalkpcast, and check out our YouTube videos, little pictures we post there and all that, and spread the word if you like it. Even if you don't like it, come troll us, come whatever, we don't care.
Trolls, we want
We
them.
appreciate the
Come
clicks.
troll. I'll troll you back.
Thanks for listening.